Van sat quietly on the chair, her fingers tightly wrapped around the coffee cup in front of her. Across the table, her fiance Taehyung leaned back, his eyes distant, as if he did not even want to be there. She watched him for a moment before softly asking, Taehyung, you are behaving weird these days. Are you okay? Taehyung nodded without looking at her. Yes, I am okay. He sighed and leaned further back. His language cold and uninterested. The silence between them felt heavy. Vance swallowed and gathered courage. We are going to marry soon. We should share everything with each other, right? Taehyung's jaw tightened. He suddenly straightened and looked at her with irritation. Wine, please, he said sharply. Don't act like my wife. Okay, you are not the one. Those words hurt like a slap. Before she could say anything, Taehyung stood up, pushed the chair back, and walked out of the cafe without turning around. Wine remained seated, her hands shaking slightly as she stared at his disappearing figure through the glass door. Her trembled as she whispered to herself, what is wrong with him? Vine stood up from her chair after signing the final paper. The sound of the pen echoed softly in the quiet meeting room. She stepped forward and extended her hand politely. The man in front of her stood up as well and shook her head gently. Welcome to Kim Enterprise, Mr. Cheon. Vine said calmly, I hope our collaboration will bring a success to both our companies. Jungkook smiled back, his eyes yet shone. I am eager to work with you, Miss Kim. Maya nodded in response, pulling her hand back professionally, but Jungkook did not miss a single detail. As he looked at her face, a strange thought crossed his mind. Jeon Wan, how would it sound if she carried my name? The thought startled even him. He blinked and snapped back to reality. When Wan fully withdrew her hand and turned slightly toward the documents, they talked for a few more minutes about meeting schedules and future plans. Wan kept her tone formal and composed while Jungkook listened carefully, his gaze often lingering on her without him realizing it. Soon after, Jungkook excused himself. It was a nice meeting you, Miss Kim, he said politely. Same here, Mr. John. Wan replied with a professional smile. Jungkook walked out of the office, but his mind stayed behind. Why do I feel like this is not just business? He thought, and somewhere inside he knew this collaboration was going to change everything. Jungkook leaned back on his chair, slowly swinging it from left to right. His eyes were fixed on the laptop screen in front of him. Display on it was a man's photo, her calm eyes, her soft expression, too pure, too gentle. Just then a knock echoed through the cabin. Come in. Jungkook said. The door opened and his secretary Mark stepped inside, holding a two file in his hands. Boss, Mark said respectfully, this is the information you asked for. Jungkook immediately stood up and snatched the file from Mark's hand. He opened it without wasting a second. His eyes scanned the page. Name Kim Wayan. Position Head of Kim Enterprise. Current role CEO of Kim Enterprise. Age 25 years. Hobbies reading a books, helping a poor people. A small smile appeared on his, but as his eyes moved to the last line, everything inside him froze. Fiance Kim Taehyung. The smile vanished. His eyes darkened with anger and heartbreak. She is engaged. Jungkook asked coldly. Mark nodded. Yes, boss, with Kim Taehyung. Jungkook let out a mocking laugh, but his jaw tightened. She cannot marry someone else, he muttered under his. He ran a hand through his hair, frustration clearly written on his face. After a few seconds, Mark spoke again. Boss, we found something else about the Kim Taehyung. Jungkook looked at him sharply. What? Mark stepped forward and handed him the second file. Jungkook opened it. Photos spilled out. Kim Taehyung is on Kim Wayan with her little sister Yeon Byul. Their photos were too close to. So Taehyung is on Wayan. Jungkook said slowly. Mark nodded. Oh, Smeek appeared on Jungkook's. Well, he said calmly. That's good for me. He closed the file and looked at Mark. You can leave now. Mark bowed and exited the cabin. Jungkook walked back to his chair and sat down once again. His eyes fell on Wayan's photo glowing on the screen. His voice softened as he whispered, You are too innocent for this world, Carrot. but I am here for you. And from that moment, Jungkook had already decided Kim Wan was going to be his. Wan and Jungkook entered the luxury hotel where their foreign client was staying. Jungkook spoke calmly. If this deal gets finalized, it will benefit both our companies. Wan nodded with confidence. Yes, and we will grab it. Jungkook smiled, impressed by her trust and strength. They stopped in front of the room. Mark and Wan's secretary stood behind them. Jungkook looked at Mark. Mark pushed the door open. The moment Wan stepped inside, her world shattered. Her eyes widened. On the couch, Taehyung and Yeonbol were each other. They immediately pulled away when they noticed the door was open. Vance trembled. She whispered, her voice filled with betrayal. Taehyung did not even look guilty. So this is where you are busy these days? Wan asked coldly. Did not you feel ashamed? With my sister, Taehyung scoffed. I don't, and I should say, he's meek. She is better than you. He grabbed Yunbyul by her and pulled her closer and pecked her. Wan turned her face away. Jungkook clenched his fist, holding himself back from Taehyung. In that moment, he realized Taehyung truly did not deserve a Wan. Wan laughed softly yet. Obviously, she will be good. After all, some people are good at. Yeonbyul yelled, how dare you say that to me? Wan chuckled. Relax, my little sister. I know all your secrets with her. I just choose to stay silent. Taehyung snapped furious. You think you are a great, huh? Don't act like you are the boss. Once make I'm the boss. Don't forget that. She stepped closer, her eyes sharp. You are still struggling to become a CEO in your own father's company. Even your dad does not trust you, right? Taehyung shouted. Shut up. I'm a way better than you. I want you just to break you. Wan laughed mockingly. Break me? You just created a problem for yourself. She slowly removed the ring from her finger and threw it straight to his face. This ring was the only way you could get the CEO position, she said coldly. That's what your father told me. She smiled bitterly. But sadly, you lost that chance. She turned her gaze to Hyunbyul. Now continue working as an employee in your own company, she added, and enjoy this. Without another word, Pan turned around and walked out of the room. Jungkook followed her silently, his heart. From that moment on, he vowed no one would ever her again. One sat quietly on the sand, her pool close to her. As she looked at the calm sea, the sun was slowly setting, painting the sky in orange and pink shades. She sighed softly. Mr. John, she said without turning back, how long are you going to stand behind me? Jungkook smiled and walked forward, sitting beside her. I just wanted to stay with you, he said honestly. That's all. Vine smiled lightly and turned to him. And why do you want to be with me? Jungkook looked at her for a moment. What will you do if I will tell you the reason? She thought for a second and replied, it depends on your reason. Jungkook took a and moved closer to her and said softly, One eyes widened. What? You said, are you? Her words were cut off when Jungkook placed his on hers. The was and at first she froze, but slowly she melted into him and him back. After a moment, they pulled away. Both Jungkook rested his forehead against her as they cocked their. He said quietly, I know it's soon, maybe not the right time, but everything feels right when it's you. He looked into her eyes. So, will you marry me? Wan chuckled softly. Mr. Jeon, are you not moving too fast? Jungkook laughed. I just wanted to tell you my feelings before anyone come between us. Wan smiled and cuffed his cheek gently and said, "Did I say I will not marry you?" Jungkook's smile widened. She leaned forward and softly patted his, staying there for a few seconds. Jungkook swallowed and slowly moved back, creating a little distance between them. He cleared his throat, smiling shyly. Wan frowned in confusion. "Why did you sit far from me?" Jungkook rubbed the back of his embarrassed. "I'll lose if I stay close." Wan moved closer again and whispered, "Then don't yourself." Jungkook looked at her in shock, then smiled gently. "I want to tell I want to wait till our marriage." Wan smiled and rested her head on his shoulder. Jungkook wrapped his arms around her as they both looked at the peaceful sunset. After a while, Jungkook asked, "Are you not sad about Taehyung?" Wan shook her head. "No, I never. Him. It was an arranged engagement by my father." Jungkook looked surprised. "So you never?" "Him? No," she replied calmly. Jungkook frowned. "Then why was he saying Yunwal is better than you?" One rose fruit. "I don't know. Maybe he was just comparing us in other things. We never share anything, not even a pet." Jungkook smiled softly. "I think it's destiny that you will share everything with me." One blushed and his arm lightly. Jungkook laughed and pulled her into a side hug, holding her close as the waves continued to crash gently in front of them. And for the first time in a long while, Wan felt safe and chosen.